Okay, so here we are at our website. How likely are you to get into UCLA Graduate School? What we're shooting for here is to get a good estimate of how your grades may compare to other students and give you the opportunity to see what components you can improve that'll give you a better chance of getting in school. So here's our webpage, and let's browse the applicant pool. So looking at the applicant pool, we see the option to select an applicant. You'll notice that there's a gradient of colors. Light blue is above 90%, the medium blue is 70 to 90%, and below 70 is this darker blue color. So just for starters, let's click one of these circles and see where these applicants range in. So we'll pick a light blue one. As we see here, GPA is about 8.65 on the 10 scale, GRE is 310, chance of admission is about 71%. So we click them, and we see they have about a 71% chance. Now let's say, for instance, that you're in this category, but perhaps maybe you scored a little bit higher on your GRE. For international students, perhaps you scored a little bit better on your TOEFL. So let's go ahead and increase those values. Say maybe 320 for the GRE, and for the TOEFL, maybe did 110. So we'll go back and we'll update this, and notice that our chance of admission goes up to 78%. And if we scroll back up here, we see some other interesting stats. You'll notice that the chance of admission is mapped with the application pool, and this selected range of applicants isn't necessarily one value. It's a range of values. So this is where you would fit given the scores that we computed for you, and it gives you a nice idea of how the applicant pool spreads out. And clearly you are skewed very much to the right if you have these similar scores. We can also analyze the applicant's pool statistics. So as we see, the range of GRE scores ranges from about 290 to 340, and it's, centered basically around the middle. We can look at other things, such as the cumulative GPA, and also that too is very much skewed towards the middle with, a couple in the 9.2 all the way up to 9.5 range. In addition to this, when we look at the chance of admission, that too is kind of skewed to the right. Obviously, people with lower scores are going to be on the far left, and there's a little bit of a frequency change as we move to the right, but for the most part, we can see that the chance of admission goes up as these components in your status change. Also, we can look at the statistics. What do each of these statistics mean? And we can find out about your GRE, your cumulative GPA, your undergraduate research, tests of English as a foreign language, college and university rankings. And we can find out many details about that there. We can also see how your chance of admission calculates. This is a full factor multivariate regression that we performed on the statistics given to us by UCLA, and we can see that at least 6 of the variables are significant. Of course, the intercept is always significant, but also your chance of admission is highly dependent on your GRE score, your TOEFL, your LOR, your CGPA, and your research. And below in the formula section, we show you roughly how we calculated those scores to give you a rough idea of which components play an important role in you getting into UCLA. So as we go back to selection, we can select another candidate, maybe one of these light blues that's in the 90% here. All right, I'll pick that one. All right. And if we look at it, they have a 94% chance of admission. And finally, if we go back up, we see, yes, they're at the high end of having a chance for admission. Obviously, they have some components that are very high. And if we look once again at the chance of admission, look once again at the GPA, yes, it's mostly fixed in the middle, but as we can see, this applicant is skewed a little bit more to the right. So this should give you a rough idea of how easy it is to get into UCLA, and maybe give you some insight on which one of the components you can address and bump up that will help you to get into UCLA and potentially other graduate schools. So that's our assignment. Thank you.